Hi. How's everybody doing? Hey, so I have, as often is the case, first, my name's Grant Asplund. It's nice to meet you all. I have about a gallon, or I should say I have about a liter of milk for a half-liter container. So I'm pinched for time, but I'll get going as quickly as I can. Before I get started, one of the things I like to do is kind of show an example of how Checkpoint does some really extraordinary things with arguably ordinary items that every other vendor has access to. And what makes us unique is we know how to put them together. So I need how about, come on, you're technical, right? I need a volunteer, so we'll get this over quickly. Tell me your name again. Hardik. Hardik, I know you're a technical guy. Come on over. Do you like wine?
Yes.
Red or white?
Preferably red.
Preferably red. Well, there's a white one, so I'll keep that one. Here, you stand on the other side of the table. And, well, here's your red wine.
Perfect.
Thanks for volunteering. That's it? No, I'm joking. Come back. So here, I have, look at ordinary items. A couple of forks. A couple of toothpicks. Bottle of wine. Take it away. No, do something extraordinary. Here, watch. I'll show you. So it really isn't magic. A lot of people go, oh, it's magic, it's magic. It's not. You can follow my lead here, okay? So what you do is you just take that one toothpick, and you stick it, expose the cork so you can get it in there. And you stick it right down into the top of that cork as hard as you can, okay? Geez, this is a hell of a hard cork. I should have drilled a hole beforehand. So if you get it down in there nice and tightly, that'll be step one, okay?
Oh, toothpick is done.
We got more. Okay, so there. And then you take the other items, a couple of forks, and you put them together like this, nice and tightly. Then you take another toothpick, and you can do some pretty cool stuff. And again, it's not magic. It's that I think anyway, I know how to put them together. So give me a second. Voila. Stop.
Oops.
Let it go. Now, some of you are going, wait, this is not magic. It's truly because I know how to put them together. And that's what makes us unique. You can take your wine. Thank you for volunteering. I really appreciate you, Hardik. Thank you very much. So, you know, the moral of the story is this is Checkpoint with ordinary items. Every other vendor has access to the same developers, the same code, the same programming languages. We know how to put them together. And what I want to talk about today is a really exciting new development, and that's the acquisition of Dome9 and how we're going to put those together. So you've seen the agenda. Let's all get on a level set. We all know what infrastructure as a service is, right? Can't touch it, can't see it, can't walk in and power it on and off. But everything you have critically depends on it. So I think actually this acronym should change to invisible and always susceptible. Because it is. All right. This you've probably seen so many times you have it memorized. The responsibility model. The shared responsibility model. Here's what I want to drive home. Two things. One, we need to change our language. When we're talking with our customers, our CISOs need to say, am I using the cloud securely? Not am I secure? But the thing that I think is most significant, and this actually, I noticed the quote had been modified. So here's the actual quote. At least 95%. At least, not 95%, at least. That means it's going to be more. This is an analyst's way of saying it's going to be everyone. This is their way of saying 100% of the problems are going to be your fault. But they're an analyst and they can't be wrong. So they got to have a little bit of wiggle room, so they say at least 95%. It's going to be your fault. Okay, why is this such a problem right now? Any of you guys hear from your customers, man, we're so busy, we're so busy? I always say, I'm busier than a three-headed cat at a bird show. And this is how your customers feel, right? They've got all these different directions to run, but they can't, okay? And why is it? Because in 2006, 2007, when Amazon launched AWS, this was their offering. But it's like our universe. It's expanding, and it's expanding fast. And each one of these components are deep, wide, very comprehensive, not just one-liners. So what's happening is we're all busier than a three-headed cat at a bird show, and our laundry list of tasks is getting longer and longer and longer. It's a real conundrum. So, we bring you clarity. We bring you visibility into this ever-expanding universe of cloud services with unprecedented capabilities to really see what the heck is going on. No mystery here. No guessing. You know exactly what's exposed, what's in the DMZ, what's out fully internal. Simple and easy with all of the interdependencies. This is so powerful. I'm telling you, set this up in 15 minutes, go to lunch, come back, and the rich information you'll be able to extract in just that short period of time, you'll find really extraordinary, and your customers will really, really love it. Why is this so important? Anybody heard of GDPR? Of course. And every other compliance acronym out there, HIPAA, NIST, PCI, and the myriad of others, they're moving targets. Two reasons why. They're constantly evolving, and our universe is expanding. So as I have an expanding universe, I have new items I need to make sure are part of my compliance. Constantly moving. This is a bugger. And without the right tools, you will fail your audits. It's why we have unified, and with our compliance engine, we provide continuous compliance with numerous bundles, over 1,500 controls predefined. And you have to understand, this is not a snapshot, right? Where I run in, take a look at your environment, say, yep, you passed NIST, and then I leave. This is a constant look. A constant, continuous check of your compliance status. Why? Because the environment is constantly expanding and extracting and changing and moving. You need something that's always watching. And that's exactly what we do. So we present this beautiful dashboard. And again, this is continuous. This isn't a snapshot and I don't know what's happening in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour. This is a continuous dashboard giving you the status of where you're at. Now, of course, you can go and generate reports. You can say, hey, I want to have a report. But imagine trying to figure out whether or not you're compliant using this type of interface. It might be simple to notice that encryption is off or encryption is on. I mean, that's the UI you have to deal with. And the risk is so great. You need the tools that bring those vulnerabilities, those compromises, those failures to the surface quickly, fast. We're not machines. So we get the dashboard all the time, but we can also generate snapshots. And what's more is we've taken this infrastructure and we've tied it in with your ticketing system, with your infrastructure, and we've automated it with something called CloudBots. Now, CloudBots is really, really cool because what CloudBots enables you to do is say, I want to auto-remediate. Let's say Michael goes and sets up a new container and it's not encrypted. I can have CloudBots say, any container that gets set up must be encrypted. CloudBot sees it and goes back and corrects it immediately. It's a fabulous solution, and it's a great way to ensure those boo-boos don't occur. Because the fact of the matter is, as we move from on-prem into the cloud, folks that have not been in the cloud, have been traditionally in the safe confines of that perimeter, don't always necessarily think about the boo-boo that they make when they move up into the cloud, and it can be catastrophic. And that's what we want to avoid. Now, you heard a little bit about this, possibly. I haven't heard too many people talking about it, but this is really one of the most extraordinary parts of the product. It's called GSL. And it's a very simple language that you literally, without being a developer, can point and click and say, I want all assets with tags that say this to do this. So let's say, for example, PCI is something you need to be compliant with. But there are some nuances in your requirements. You need to change it a little or add a little bit more. GSL is your solution. So you don't have to contract and hire a developer. You can do it yourself because you understand what it is you need to do, and it's just a simple point and click, generates the code for you. It's really, really a slick solution. You know, we're in a really significant inflection point or paradigm shift. We've been through a few of these. I'm a little bit older, so I remember the first cloud I ever knew of was a 3090 and SNA terminals all around with 3270. That was the cloud, right? And then we went into client server. It was still using the big data center, but everybody got their computers on their machine or on their desktops. And then along came the early mid-2000s, and my lead engineer comes to me and says, take a look at this. And he fires up an appliance in a window. And it's, what is this? Oh, that's called VMware. And the world went wild, right? Well, now you got Amazon and all the others saying, hey, just lift and shift. Just move it over. Come on, copy it over. It's great. Now, it is cool to do that, but you're not going to be cloud native. You're not going to be able to really take advantage of serverless, some of the more advanced Lambda functions and other capabilities. So don't be lured into doing that, okay? Don't be lured into doing that. Make sure you understand the consequences, because we're in a whole new world now. And it is expanding and changing. And to really fully exploit and take advantage of this environment, we need to learn it. 451 did research last year. Over half, listen to this, over half of all organizations questioned or polled said they have no cloud certified professional on staff. What I find so fascinating is Gartner's telling you it's going to be your fault, but you're not hiring people who are trained. You're not investing in training to know how to use this environment. It's because it's so easy and simple. Don't be lulled into that seduction. Hey, just lift and shift, because you're gonna bite yourself in the long run. Okay. It's this new world of understanding what I own and control and what I don't own and control. And understanding when you have access to cloud services, it's all services, all layers, because they're all virtualized now. And so, this is an example, and you've seen a number of these, right, of the breaches that occur. This is going to be fodder for the news for a long time. Because while you're all hearing this over and over and over, and you very likely are going to go back and do something about it, there are millions that aren't. And they're going to get caught. So we're going to see this happen over and over and over. The fact is, I've got someone that's been accustomed to working in the security and confines of a perimeter-based environment, a data center that's fixed, and then they go off into a cloud environment. In the safety of that secure perimeter, one boo-boo really isn't that big of a deal because I'm safe by the perimeter. But such is not the case in the cloud. So one misconfiguration literally can back that resource up and thus expose your entire organization to all the bad guys that we know are constantly scanning the cloud environments. Why? Because they know it's going to be your fault, and they know you're not investing in any training. So where would you target? Look, are you a machine? Who can tell me what this says? Let me get it down a little easier. Now? Come on, tell me what it says. Who knows? Who knows? We know. Dome9 knows. Because we built the technology to enrich these logs so we can really understand. Now, you have to understand how difficult it is to have attribution with ephemeral infrastructures. How can you attribute it's your fault if the server is gone? You need tools that can allow you to see in, enrich those logs, so you really know this is actually a Lambda function talking to a malicious server. You won't be able to get this by looking at the VCP logs, or the VPC, excuse me. It's almost like saying DH or DCHP. You've heard people say that. Listen, whether it's your best friend or it's your worst enemy, you get shot in the head, the funeral costs are the same. Think about that. Okay? Whether it's your admin, your DBA, or some hacker, the funeral costs are the same. So you need to protect yourself against the unintended, and you can do that with the right tools. That's where Magellan obviously comes in as well. And this is really an exciting new integration point that you're going to see a lot of really cool and exciting things coming from Checkpoint over the course of the ensuing months and years. Because this is where we enrich and actually represent visually what's going on in that expanding dynamic environment from a threat perspective. And as we start to integrate additional feeds and the intelligence that is unequivocally the best in the industry with how many? 86 billion IOCs a day? A day. You know, I did the math because I love to reduce to the ridiculous. You know, that's over 2,700 a second. That's amazing. Another little reduced to the ridiculous. Any of you heard of Infinity? Go sell it to your customers. And when they say, well, what is it? You say, well, wait, do you have to protect your users just Monday through Friday, 8 to 5? They're going to say what? No. How often do you have to protect your users? 24/7, 365. Okay. So Infinity, how would you like to do that for 3.4 cents an hour? Because that's what it costs. 3.4 cents an hour, and you've protected your entire organization and every one of your users. That's a compelling deal. Reduced to the ridiculous. Listen, this I mentioned earlier. No wonder it's going to be your fault. Nobody's investing in training. Nobody's going out learning the nuances and the unique aspects of these tools because it looks just the same. And heck, come on, you can just lift and shift. Invest, learn, get trained, get cloud certified, and get the right tools to give you the visibility, to give you the control, to give you the continuous compliance you really need to have. I mean, let's all put our hacker hats on for a second. I mean, where would we attack? I'd go after all of you with cloud environments because I know you're not learning about it and you're not protecting it properly. And here's the fact. Where there is mystery, there is margin. Margin for error, margin for exploit, and margin for profit. So if you, I mean, just think about it. If you become the expert, you can charge for it. There's margin. If you don't become the expert and there's mystery there, you better be careful because it's ripe for exploit. Remove the mystery. Get the right tools so you have that visibility. Get the right tools so you won't fat finger and put your enterprise at risk. And you remove the risk. This is what we're doing. And it's pretty extraordinary. It's just like that. It's not magic. It's that we have the right components and we know how to put them together. To give you visualization like this, nothing is out that can provide this kind of immediate information about the status of your environment with a quick look. Now compare this to those logs and trying to figure it out. The other thing I always like to remind people, the cloud providers, they build a terrific infrastructure, they've got great security, but what they don't really provide is the user interface, the good, crisp visibility. So for you and I to go invent a new IoT dog collar in my garage, hey, AWS is great. I got 10 assets. It's no problem. I can manage it perfectly with the UI they provide. But let's extrapolate that to the real world. I've got 1,000 security groups in 200 locations around the world. Same UI, same textual-based UI. Wow. Now, I get people that say, oh, come on, Grant, I can just write a bunch of scripts. Well, you may be able to, but that's kind of a lost, that's an art that is fading quickly as more and more people are using GUIs. So to get the real proficient scripters, they're not always all around. So the reality is it's better to have a UI and a tool that gives you all that visibility and puts the power and control in your hands and not having to rely on somebody else to magically whip up some scripts. Where there's mystery, there's margin. Remove the mystery. So, I'm early, even though I started a couple minutes late. So, earlier to go maybe make sure that Zohar can start on time. New infrastructures, new environments, new tools, new capabilities require new solutions that can get assembled and put together to do extraordinary things with the infrastructure and existing tools that you already have. That's what Checkpoint's providing. We need to be efficient. We're all busier than three-headed cats at a bird show. We just don't have the time. We need to find ways to automate. We need to find ways to find my mistakes and fix them for me so I don't have to. It's imperative. And we really need to invest in training, invest in certification, make sure we really understand where it is we're going so that we make the right investments now in education, in the tools, in the migration, so you don't kind of hog-tie yourself by lifting and shifting those VMs, thinking it's a quick, easy fix that really ends up causing complications for you down the road. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions if I can. And I want to thank you all very, very much for putting up with my technical difficulties. And look, it's still there. Thanks for helping me out. Thank you all very, very much. Any questions? Yeah.
One of the slides, I didn't understand the integration with the
Slack?
and ServiceNow and the board.
Go ahead. Oh, I thought you were going to answer them. So it's a matter of, it's integrating with your workflow and the tools that you have in your environment. When you have tickets that you need to generate, it is going to integrate with that environment. And I can get you one of the engineers that can, talk in details. I'm going to take it offline. I don't want to say yes or no and be wrong. So let me get somebody that can answer that. But the idea is, as we more tightly integrate the capabilities of our product, we understand that it's got to integrate and go with your workflow. I mean, you've got a guy that generates a ticket because he's got a problem and I need to fix it. So, but I'll get somebody who can give you the details of that. Yeah. Good answer, Tal. Go in, ask the guys, have them show you. That'll be perfect. Any other questions? Okay, you guys were great. Thank you very much.